Today we meet Rene Maurin, the director of Bright Black, and I'm really interested in the topic of your shirt because it's really like magic, hypnotic, the way you mix together reality and the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it really fascinating, and I wanted to know what is the aim of this mix between the dream and the reality in the mind of the main character in your shirt.
Yes, interesting question. The film is actually quite funny because it's a very local film. Many parts have references to very local Slovenian situations that maybe are not always clear to foreigners, and also there are some references to some historical situations that are also maybe not understandable to younger people or maybe to foreigners that don't know a bit about the history of Yugoslavia and stuff like that. But the other interesting part is that the film was partially inspired by a Japanese folktale. Mizo Kaibashi. It's a very simple Japanese folktale from the 7th century. But it all came together because my main interest was, and mostly is when I'm working, is exploring different perspectives on certain typical values of our society. The dream, for example, the whole idea of the dream is actually exploring different perspectives of this cliché about dreams coming true and about what dreams mean, or they don't mean anything, or they do mean something. Do they have any prognosticist qualities? How serious somebody can take dreams, and so on. So basically, the whole film is trying to look to different perspectives to love, success, money, and these very basic values.
Yeah, and also about you mentioned the historical pattern. In my opinion, what I understood is like the main character is still in a kind of past, and it's not really recognizing the very fast changes in the situation. And so it's like the scene when he found the money, but they are not heroes, or they are without any value. So what do you think it's the link between the past and the present in the short and in the historical
one thing is for sure that it's something that somehow affects my whole generation, because we are a generation that grew up in a time that was completely different from this time. We are a generation that grew up in socialist Yugoslavia, where we had absolutely no idea or no conception of success, material richness, because it was isolated more or less, not as isolated as Russia or something, but it was still, nobody could get rich, and nobody could get really poor. So basically this was not in the mindset. And of course this generation then suddenly woke up, being grown up in a time where everything changed and money became the biggest
a window to modernity with Europe.
Whatever, it's whether it's Euro or it doesn't. I don't think it's so much connected with European Union. That's a different topic, but it is connected with this radical shift. And many people from this, of course not all. There are many people who adapted very well, but there are also many people who somehow couldn't adapt to this situation.
Maybe people having a life really linked with inspiration and art, and so it's more difficult to.
It's today you have to sell your art.
Yeah.
No, the biggest majority of this generation grew up in times where art was not something that was being sold.
Yeah.
It was just something that you made and you got some money for it. You couldn't get rich, you couldn't get poor. So basically, they just woke up in a new reality when they have to be next to artists. They also have to be businessmen. They have to be all this kind of stuff. So he is a typical type of character that could not adapt and who is bitter because of
it cannot really hit the flow of modernity and
exactly he cannot connect. And the other thing here is I didn't want to make what I wanted to do is because usually there are two options: either you connect or you kind of die in a mental or in a survival way. But I'm always interested in characters who experience some kind of a shift in their perspective to life. And basically this is what the second part, after he finds the worthless money, he basically suddenly, in the scene with the drop, he realizes that there is a whole bigger life
something
outside
like of the bright black and the idea of one and only inspiration.
Well, the title is also, you can call one thing gray, or you can call it bright black. It's a matter of perspective. So.
And what are your programs and your projects for the future? What are you working on?
I'm working on multiple things at actually the same time. I'm mostly preoccupied with my first feature film. I'm actually I'm working on my first feature film, but it's in a very initial phase. And I just wrote kind of like a book. It's kind of a research thing. But I'm working on more films.
Okay, thank you, and good luck for everything.
Thank you very much.